The ANC in the Western Cape is expected to elect provincial leaders for the first time in nearly a decade. The party's 700 delegates are expected to deal with some of the internal challenges that have delayed progress. Joining us is Sandile Swana, a political analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for your time this afternoon. And so to the party's admission in that province, it is at its weakest level ever. How would you characterize the politics of the ANC in the Western Cape?
The politics of the ANC in the Western Cape, first of all, have got a pre-Polokwane and a post-Polokwane period. In the pre-Polokwane period, one of the prominent leaders there was Rasool, and they flew high. Although they didn't have the outright majority, they were able to govern the province. After the Polokwane conference, Rasool was kicked out, and many of his supporters, including this Kubutile Janki, Richard Janki to some, were kicked out of the government or the power structures of the ANC and government eventually. And then the factions that were formed around that time, in that build-up, have remained till today. Eventually, Fransman, as I recall, was the last leader who left office under a cloud and scandal, and they've never really been able to become one unit and one unified force. They struggled to have properly audited and qualified branches to go to the conference in Nasrec. Eventually, they managed to get some branches in there without the conference, which they're only going to hold now. So you are talking about a ANC in the province of the Western Cape that has lost electoral support. They moved from 27% from about 46% to about 27%. And they are in disarray as we speak today. They themselves admit that they have had corruption within themselves, where the branches are bought, votes are bought. And we even had a stabbing at one stage of, Squacha, and so on. So it has been a bias.
You speak of a cloud and scandal, and you speak of corruption. The front runners for the chairperson position include Richard Janki, the provincial in the provincial legislature. You've got Cameron Dugmore, and then you've got Justin de Allender. When it comes to Mr. Richard Janki, the suspended public protector advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane released some audio recordings where it is purported that it is the voice of the late Tina Joemat-Pettersson, and also the WhatsApp messages where it is purported that it is the late Tina Joemat-Pettersson, and therein she says that he, as well as Phemi Majodina of the ANC, who's the chief whip in Parliament, were upset because they did not get a chance to be ministers. Now, that still remains to be tested as the investigation is going on. But Richard Janki enters this race looking like what?
Yeah, unfortunately, these are the things that, I hear Cameron Dugmore trying to comment on this in the most kind and favorable manner on this scandal that you are raising. The problem with this scandal involving Janki himself is that there are recordings there. There is also, depending how you want to look at it, the dead body of Tina Joemat, which has got to be cleared whether it is related to this particular scandal or other scandals. So, indeed, Janki comes into this with a cloud, but in the ANC we saw many of the comrades, the likes of Jacob Zuma winning elections with a cloud, all sorts of clouds, the likes of Cyril Ramaphosa with Phala Phala. So the ANC has not been able to divorce scandal. As you rise up in the ranks of the ANC, it appears at times that you need that badge of scandal to really be a leader there.
It is said that some of the discussion documents will be taking a look at the political economy that raised the question of spatial justice economic inequality and separate developments that can be dealt with and should be confronted. When you take a look at a country like South Africa under this particular leadership, maybe more broadly, as we look at the various provinces, almost 30 years later, whether you speak to land experts, whether you speak to people that deal with the economy experts or political experts like yourselves, what would your reflection be when it comes to the issue of redress in this country and it not just being another politicking talk or politicking tool or politicking ticket? How far has the country come under this leadership?
For a start, the 9 provinces in South Africa and all the metros and district municipalities in South Africa, and as far as I know, none of them has actually maintained the targeted 5.4, average 5.4% GDP growth in their districts or in the province, including Cape Town and the Western Cape and the broader Western Cape under the DA. So both the ANC and the DA, wherever they have governed, they have not actually attained that. Secondly, if you want to talk about unemployment that is relatively acceptable, you are talking about something that would be in the range between 2% and 5%. I think the last time when the Western Cape was boasting about having the lowest unemployment rate in South Africa, they were talking about 20% unemployment rate, which in any civilized nation is totally unacceptable. Inequality is rife. So when they raise issues of special inequality, the disasters that have been continuing, the gang crime, the organized gangs in the Western Cape have been there since time immemorial. And the government of this country has even stymied the collapsing of those gangs. And in fact, the gangs have now captured the police and getting police murdered who are investigating the gangs. They stymied Pagad, all sorts of things have happened. So in the country generally, the colored communities and the African communities, their condition by and large has worsened, and the families of colored and Africans have actually disintegrated during this period from 1994 until now. Men are no longer getting married. Single motherhood is rife. Pregnant mothers are getting addicted to alcohol. So there are so many problems that have come with this democracy for the black communities in general.
Of what consequence will this conference then be, given the state of the party in the Western Cape?
The conference, well and good, it's good to have the conference, but the time that we're in now is a time for leaders who are rooted in communities, in the Cape Flats, in Khayelitsha, who understand the problems, who are then able to use state power and state resources to actually rectify the actual problems of crime, of drugs, of broken families, broken infrastructure, general unemployment, poverty. The high-flying leader who has no particular landing place, who flies over the province of the Western Cape, that time has expired. And those are some of the things that this conference has got to deal with. The people who just want power with no constituency, no base, and no place to actually do the work, those ones need to be set aside.
Because that's what the people of Khayelitsha will be asking. That's what the people of many informal settlements in the Western Cape will be asking. Right now, they are the worst impacted when it comes to the issue of flooding. Yet these discussion documents speak of spatial justice in 2023, this being the most unequal country in the world, and spatial planning, or apartheid spatial planning, having played a very significant role in getting the country to where it is today. But many people also ask you, but it's 30 years. How long must we still be waiting?
Yes, those issues of special planning need competency. They need competent development economists. They need competent town planners, competent civil engineers, and so on and so forth, to reimagine the cities and the living spaces, as opposed to the current problem that has plagued the ANC for some time, which is cadre deployment, where people with the most questionable and dubious qualifications are allocated the most senior positions and positions of great responsibilities. I'm talking about political responsibility. And with the whole notion that a politician in the ANC generally and the DA is starting to go in that direction, that to be a politician you must not be trained in any particular field. There's nothing that you must know in specific. And I mean, even if you look at Kubutile Janki, his qualifications are unclear as to what they are. So all these types of things can only prolong the suffering of the people of the Western Cape and South Africa more generally.
Sandile Swana is a political analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for your time this afternoon.